I have to go on my Instagram and accept.
Yeah.
Hmm. It doesn't show.
Mine isn't showing anything as well.
It's okay. Let me just see if shows here. Supposed to be on your feed.
I'm seeing 9 people are watching now.
Really?
Is
Yeah.
it from the webinar or Instagram?
It's from X. It's
Okay.
from Brights. It
So
It's okay.
Instagram is my plan
I
B
can.
for me. If Instagram does not work, I'll just put the phone on my on my whatever.
But it
I
says you're live. It
yeah.
says that
Does it say I'm live?
for Bright, no. For you, yes.
Oh, okay. This is on Instagram.
Yeah. I don't know what's the problem. Why is it not?
That's so strange.
You're already live. That is yours. Let me see for Bright. You're also live.
Somehow it's not showing on mine. Okay. Yeah, on my IG is not showing live. Oh, let me see.
Yeah, I'm also not seeing anything on my Instagram. Where should
Even
the notification just pop up or
Yeah, on your feed.
on my feed? I'm not.
see at the
Yeah.
top of the feed. StreamYard is not working.
The only thing I'm seeing is your notification, Shira.
Same.
Okay. What I can do is just go live, go to create the same process as I do the same for Bright, and let's
How? On the laptop.
yeah,
Okay, so
just go to
I just
create, go to create live video. I'm doing for Bright, so we can just
Okay, please do for me because I don't know. I was so be lost. But
okay. So once do I just go live? Because I'm seeing there's go live with the streaming software.
yeah. So copy the stream key, then send it to me, then go live.
How do I just go live? Because it's not
Um,
letting me. The place written go live is not. I can't click on it.
for your account or what?
Yeah,
Because it shows that you're live on my
yeah.
side.
you can see me live.
Viewers, but the problem is I can't see for Bright.
Okay.
Cheryl, you can just add them. Add it.
Right. You can see
Yeah.
that I'm live from my profile.
Let me see.
I'm seeing somebody saying you guys are already live.
Yeah, we
And
know we are live. We can see
we are
you're
aware.
live.
We're
No, it
sorting
doesn't
out
show on
technical
mine.
issues live.
Maybe people can see, but we can't see on our phone because it's our account.
Maybe. Yeah. That's fine then. We have like about 4 minutes.
4 minutes to start. Well, 25, 26 people live streaming. Okay. I'm just trying to check to see what's going on.
On Instagram, you're not. Huh. I don't
Okay,
know.
StreamYard. StreamYard, you lied to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
What's it like?
love these Ziwa bottles. They're so.
I have such a huge water bottle. Like, look at how big.
You should talk to Ziwa. Let's know Ziwa. Ziwa has really nice, and it feels nice as well. But there's a yellow one that she made, which is really, really awesome, which I just so love. Um, yeah,
And does it have like a velvety, not velvety, like a matte, you know, that
it does.
soft?
That's how it feels like.
That's nice.
Yes, it's not those bottles.
I like this one though because I feel like it helps me hit my hydration target.
You're one of those people.
I am because I promise you I will forget to drink water. I will forget.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
sure. If it doesn't work,
I feel like
is it working?
no, but let's try when it's at exactly at 8. We get to see if it works. If it
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
work, you can place your phone live. I don't know.
Is it
Do you
because
have a
the
tripod?
time,
Yeah, I feel
uh,
like it's the time.
the time that we had set earlier on was
Yeah,
not?
I feel
So
so.
okay, then I'll just use my phone.
Let's wait. Still 9. Still
Okay,
8. Sorry.
2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Dodie is saying that's the tank. Whatever you're holding.
Oh my God. I promise you. Like, I promise. I was today years old when I realized how do you even, oh, this is how you go live. Okay.
On Instagram.
Hopeless. Hopeless. Like, and we are here talking about tech.
Oh,
Okay.
man. Okay,
Yeah, then I
one.
can try and go live also on my phone if just in case.
Let
Yeah,
me just
just in case.
let me adjust my camera
Yeah,
here just in case.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
I think so. I mean, it's already off to an interesting start.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for my buds and I can't find it, and I don't know where it is. And anyway,
Okay. Now let me tap from the screen because it's about it.
Shira, something is tweaking on your end.
but that's Sharon. So I get you off stage. Okay. All right, Shara. Thanks. We'll
Bye,
see.
Shara.
If it doesn't show, eh, we'll
I'm
just go.
working on it.
Okay, cool.
Do you like this layout or you want something else?
I think this is fine. I think it works because no, I don't, because I can't now see. Yeah, that's perfect. I have
Really?
glasses on and I still can't see. So,
How blind are you?
you know, I realized that the only reason that I'm blind is
Oh,
because I used to put like this much space between me and the TV growing up. Nobody else in my family wears glasses. No
it's
one.
actually live because when I swipe to go live, I can see
Mhm.
941 active already on
No,
my
I
phone.
don't. I think it's just notifying you that like there are people online.
Yes, but people can see. Okay, I
Okay.
think we're good to go.
Yeah. Right. So, hi, Bright.
What's up? I think we have now 66 people online from how do you call it? Um, from the StreamYard.
Yeah.
It's let me just add my camera one
I think
second.
you are live on LinkedIn because I'm seeing somebody from LinkedIn saying that they, are spotting us.
Okay, one second. So I'm gonna go with both, but just the people who are going to tune in online are going to see.
Yeah.
Um, should I add your guest on my feed or
Sure. Feel free. Please do. I can see people are excited as well. Numbers are going up. We're at 85 now.
yeah, I've added you on how do you call it, on the other one. I just hope we don't have a feedback on both sides.
Is this Instagram or
Instagram,
LinkedIn?
yes.
Okay.
Instagram. So I think people who are trying to see that they can actually see both of them.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just station myself in a way that makes sense.
Mm.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So,
so I think for those who are watching on Instagram, unfortunately, we try to actually live stream
yeah.
on both, on almost all streams, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then everything. But unfortunately, that's not possible. So I'll be looking here and looking up there,
Yeah.
hoping that I wish I had that AI tool that can basically make you look on both places. Um, I think Shara, if you're watching, if you can share the link again on the live, so that we can uh, request sent to, so that we can share some of the links for people to tune in live. So yeah, so we're here today. We have been discussing this, and Abed, I think you and I have been discussing this, having this conversation for a while now. Wait,
Yeah.
battery is low. Let me put in my charger. It's what we call devil gods. Things work offline and then you get them. So we've been having this discussion saying every time I go somewhere, I think in my DMs almost every other time, I'm always getting the question, Bright, how do I get into tech? How do I get to basically become, how do I switch careers? And there are people who are already in a career space and want to basically switch I mean, they're in one career as a lawyer, then a career as a mechanic. I've seen somebody who was a waiter. I've seen a medical doctor who became something else. And the
Mm.
question is, we want to just have a conversation, very brutal conversation. So there are a couple of things I want us to discuss today, which I have my thought process. I don't know what you want to actually look at.
Yeah, I realized that we've just up and started the conversation. We've not done any intros. And part of the
Oh,
conversation we were having before this was what exactly is a work psychologist, aka what I do, what exactly is a thought leader, a tech thought
yeah.
leader. So
Hey,
maybe you can tell us what that is.
Uh, so funny enough, yesterday somebody was laughing at me on Twitter saying thought leader, and then the person put an emoji of like, yeah, right. And I'm
Mm.
like, okay. So I asked him, is there anything wrong with that? We went into the DM and I asked him, what's wrong with the fact that I said I'm a thought leader? He's like, it sounds TikTokish.
What does that
And I'm
even
like,
mean? What is
it's
TikTokish?
because I told him it's because you've never heard the word thought leader. You don't understand what a thought leader is. So go Google and go find out exactly what a thought leader is. But there's some
Mm.
things that I actually do um, that I don't post everywhere. There's some things that I do, some consultants that I do in different areas of, which is not cybersecurity at all. And that's why I consider myself a thought leader. So yeah, I think I'm a thought leader in the technology space. I try to help people navigate through the technology space, and basically become something else in when it comes to tech. And we basically want to just share what we know. I don't know everything, so don't you. And other people online right now can also help us to demystify exactly what getting into tech really means. The other day, another person did some on Twitter, and we're trying to basically just make sure that we share as much as we can. We've put a few times some notes down. We want to share those notes. We'll share our screen, and I think we basically will be able to actually get to demystify that. Yes, I've seen Morgan is saying that a thought leader is a person who specializes in a given area and whom others in the industry turn to for guidance. So I consider myself a thought leader in technology or cybersecurity for that matter. Yeah, but again, somebody asking me, a work psychologist, who is really a work psychologist?
I feel as though work psychology is tied into HR. So my undergrad is actually in HR.
The request that I sent to you, you did not join online on
I also,
Instagram.
I also sent you a request to join your live.
Let me
So
add again.
maybe just accept
I've
because I don't
canceled
think.
an invite again. Can you see the can you see the invitation?
Mhm. This is so crazy that we are having like these issues.
Yeah, so that the people on Instagram can also
Yeah,
get to
can
see.
benefit from the conversation. No, I'm not seeing your. I've requested
Oh,
to join. So has it popped?
let me cancel you request now. It's funny we're talking about technology. We
Friend
can't figure
request.
that out.
You know, it's crazy. That's why I'm saying, like, it's very ironical. Okay.
Oh wait, I know where. Oh, there we go. Added.
I hope there are no Gen Zs watching this because honestly, it doesn't help.
No,
They
it's
don't help.
because I've not done a live in a long time, so you should be able to join now. There we
Oh,
go.
feedback. There we go. The feedback. Oh,
Okay.
it's not
Use a
working.
volume on a volume on your whatever. How do you call it?
No, I had to. I actually couldn't.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go. Let's go with it.
Right, yeah. So I was saying work psychology is actually related to HR in a sense. So I did my undergrad in human resources, and then I realized I have a passion for working with people. And that's basically how I went and did a master's in work and management psychology. So my work is to help people and companies improve their work processes. I do this
Okay.
through helping them improve their productivity, helping them with their work-life balance and, performance, those kinds of things. So that's basically what a work psychologist does. They help you make
Oh,
your work better. They help you understand your work better. Yeah.
okay. That's great. And
Dennis
I
is
think
saying we need a
it's
Gen Z intern over here.
we have a
Be
Gen
patient.
Z behind the background. We just made a few. It's our first time using StreamYard, so I think that's why we couldn't connect the two properly. But I guess I guess next time we will be able to get that done. So yeah. So basically, I want us to talk about the first part of things, which there are various areas of getting into tech really entails. We can see areas of having software development. We have cybersecurity. We have one of the most interesting one people really underestimate, which is technology sales. So the tech sales part of things is one area that nobody actually get into. And then we're looking at various tools, and the power of AI is getting into into our lives. So if we don't know exactly how to be able to use AI in our everyday work, I think we're going to be having a very difficult time. So this is not just getting into tech as a career, but also how to be able to make the use of what we have every day to make our lives easier. So I want us to just go step by step, talking about the various areas that we're looking at. Which the first one is, so we're going to discuss a lot of things, discussing how to get into tech. We'll get into how to get into cybersecurity, software development, all of those, and a very interesting topic that I like to discuss: money. How much
Mm.
do you charge? So we've done, so guys, everybody who's watching, we've done a benchmark of salaries across the world. So we will be able to discuss what is a salary of somebody who lives in the States compared to somebody who lives in Kenya or other countries for various roles, so that even when you're going to negotiate, you know exactly how much you're asking for. Because that's one underrated thing that people go into interviews, and I think, Abed, you've seen that people go into interviews and they basically don't know exactly how much to ask for,
Yeah.
or some of the trick questions, which I think you should need to bring out. There are mistakes that we make on CVs. I really wish the guys on Instagram can go into the live. If you're on Instagram, I think you should just switch to the StreamYard link, so that you can actually see live exactly what we're doing, because we'll be sharing our screen, we'll be sharing salary details, we'll be going through a CV, my CV, right?
Yeah, your
Okay.
CV.
We'll use my CV as an example so that you can tell exactly what are some of the mistakes and what are the things you shouldn't do. But I think we should later have a specialized session. Oh, somebody
Yeah,
asked if
where
he's
we're
watching.
just like reviewing CVs live.
Yeah, so we basically can do a live CV review. So you can basically, I will have a folder, you can upload your CVs, remove any sensitive personal identifiable information for data protection, and then we'll go through your CV and tell you exactly what is wrong. You can put fictional names. So I think we will have how to call it. We'll do that at a later stage as another session. Hopefully that live will now stream everywhere. So I want to
Yeah.
get to the first part of things, which is software development. Um, right now, I was having a debate the other day with some people where we're saying software development is not what we used to think it is anymore. Back in the day, some lady called me this evening and she told me, I think she's joined right now, and she told me when she wanted to get into cybersecurity, somebody told her to go learn assembly language, C++, and everything. I'm not saying
Programming
C++,
language.
programming languages. And I
Yeah.
was like, when was the last time I ever thought of learning C++ or assembly language? Even I
I
don't
don't think I've
understand.
heard of that. I don't because Java, yeah.
Java and the likes. Assembly is actually machine code. The 001s and the likes. To understanding, she is not a technical person, but somebody's telling her to go learn assembly language. It becomes quite difficult for somebody like that to even get into tech. That totally discourages somebody to get into technology. So when it comes to software development, there are various roles that you can look at when it comes to software development. And there are so many. It can be either be a general IT support person. I personally started as an IT support engineer. I was fixing computers. I used to just fix computers, hard drives here and there, and remove cables and put it back in, put a RAM and everything. It was fun. But these days, those things are in the cloud. They come ready. So you basically have access to these things. So when it comes to software engineering and the likes, you have to basically look at what do you get to become when you're doing software engineering, right? So there are various roles you can look at. One of them is something which I find quite interesting in the software engineering development journey, which is UI UX.
Mm.
You give a software team or devs right now to create a software for you without a user interface or user experience detailing, they will create the wrong thing. I bet if I tell you right now that let's go create a software for total energy, basically you want people to have some sort of
Like
how do you call it,
Adobe XD or
to
Sketch.
pay or get some loyalty program and everything. A normal software developer who does not think about the user interface, UI, user experience, or how do you call it, user experience, you basically are going to have difficulty um, getting to build that. You just build because you're building for usability and functionality. You're not building for security. You're not building for somebody to understand exactly how they feel when they use the application. If somebody uses your app and it's very difficult to navigate through the entire application, it becomes quite difficult. You won't like it. So a UI UX engineer, as I call them, or designers, like to make sure that you don't like a product, you love a product. Those are two different things. Liking is one thing. I'll like it today, I'll never come back. If I love it, I'll keep on using that application. Same thing as web applications. Some beautiful websites are there, but if you look at some government websites, you will never go back. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
the colors you choose. There's a reason why we are addicted to Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitter, because they know exactly what color to use. They know exactly how to make us feel to come back. So if you're a designer and you want to get into the tech space, UI UX engineers are paid quite well. We're going to get into, in the United States, a UI UX engineer, most places will get in a year about $157,000 a year. That's the research I've done. And somewhere in
Is this
Kenya,
entry level?
pardon?
Because we have entry level. Is this entry level? Is it mid?
I would say mid. So mid level, you'll get about no. Well, somebody a bit senior will get about 157,000, depending also on the state. I think you can cover that later, depending
Mm.
on which area you are at. But on average, if you're not in New York or Manhattan and the likes, you're looking at 157,000 and around that area. But on the lower side, you're about 132,000, which is still not bad a year.
Mm.
Do that to 12 months. In a month, you're still getting good money. I've seen in Kenya, majority are coming to on a higher side of almost, excuse me, right, this is bad for some, $17,000, $17,600. So it can go higher because I have seen some people get paid higher for such roles. This is in USD. I'm talking about USD for because of the universal conversation we're having here. So that is one area we have to look at. Then the UI UX person designs the flow. I like to see they use something called Figma screens. Maybe if I just I'll type that later. Using Figma screens, and the Figma screens basically makes it easier for somebody to visualize, to know exactly how the flow of the application will be. You know how it looks like, you know how it feels like. You can even click on some of them to see how it feels like before you gave a software developers front end and back end to develop. So when it's a front end developer, they bring it to life. They bring that visual aspect of what you design to bring to life. And if you're a back end engineer or back end engineering, they're the ones who code the functions. So you want to do 2 plus 2 plus 5, that should be able to be calculated easily. So if the interface say enter 5 numbers and click equals, click sum, and it's supposed to give you how do you call it, the result, you basically will get that backend engineer to code that. Then there are those people who are ninjas, ninjas of they both do backend, they both do front end and backend. But I saw somebody in the chat saying I'm a full stack engineer. That's what they call a full stack. The full stack engineer basically becomes somebody who, how do you call it? Full stack engineer becomes somebody who basically can code backend and front end. But what I usually find out is people have a preference. So you see a full stack, but he loves backend engineering. Another full stack who likes the front end engineering. So you find those kind of detailing. And a full stack engineer that I've seen salaries are going to mostly, I don't know how, some for some reason front end engineers are coming to what? Just a second.
As you pull that up, I
Yeah,
something interesting has popped into my mind while you've been speaking about salaries. I saw
yeah.
somewhere that someone was saying um, they would rather get talent, like remote talent, from
Mhm.
Kenya or from Africa because they will kind of lowball them on the salary. Whereas it's very highly unlikely to get lowballed when you are in the US or when you're working from abroad. And I just really wonder about that. Do they give different figures for remote workers who are in Kenya or who are in Africa?
They
What's
do.
going on?
So
Why?
you see, a mobile developer will be at around $5,000 here, but if they were in the States, it'll be at around $10,000. You find a front end developer, a senior front end developer in the States, getting 143,000 a year. A back end developer would be at around $178,000. Then in Kenya, the front end is at around 15,000. The back end is at around $45,000 a year. This is net. I'm talking about the net salary, not gross. So taxes does not come in here. So if you are here and you want to basically look at roles that you want to get outside there, also know how to negotiate. And when getting to some of these roles, it's really important for you to know how to basically get there. I see a lot of people who start and then they want, even an engineer who's just starting in software development, all of a sudden goes straight to saying, I want 100,000 Kenya shillings. Or about that's about $600. Well, it depends. You can get that $600 starting if you are really good. Because I've seen some software developers in Kenya who already are good before finishing school.
Yeah.
My youngest mentee, when we get to cybersecurity, we'll discuss that. My youngest mentee is 19 years old. He just joined a diploma in Strathmore. He still gets paid well because he knows so much for his age. So I cannot discriminate and say just because you're young, I'm gonna pay you low. So
So
again,
the practical knowledge is important.
it's really important. So please, I tell people, don't downplay yourself. Don't downplay yourself. I'm going to share in the chat right now. There's a guy who I saw on Twitter called Ryan Kelly who shared a whole list of remote paid jobs. So people can actually go to check out some of those jobs. It's a whole list that he has shared there. Now, there are other areas of software engineering that also, or software development, that we get to see. You can be a software engineer right now, but I tell people, you will never be a technical person forever. So if you think that you are just going to be a techie doing coding every day and you want to be that forever, it's not going to last. It's not going to work. You have to look at the fact that you want to become a leader. So you become a tech lead, obviously get paid more. You guide other people on how to be able to code better, to look at quality of code, the way the code has to be clean. Clean code is really important. Secure code is important, and all of those get to be really important for you to look at. And the people don't take time to look at that aspect of things because they feel they're going to be typing code forever. You're not. So that's where there's an entry level, there's a mid level, there's a senior level, mid level, senior level when it comes to software development, be it UI, UX, be it front end or back end, be it the other part of things, which is product managers. You want to be a product manager, you need to understand how the program works. You don't have to be a core coder to know how product management works, but you have to talk to people. You have a people skills. You know how to talk to people. You know how to be able to gather information of exactly what clients want. You know how to basically you understand marketing, you understand sales, you understand integrations, you understand technology, basically. So that basically gets to make it easier for you to know exactly how a product manager works. Because as a product manager, you know strategy, you understand a little bit of everything, so you know how that will be able to integrate into other systems. For example, you're creating a software which is supposed to solve for a payment solution. You need to understand how APIs work with Safaricom, for example. If in Kenya, you need to understand how integrations work. If it's an e-commerce website, connected to Paystack. So do you use Paystack or do you go coding directly and pass that into integration? You need to understand how those work. So it gets to make you very easy becoming a product manager, which goes to the next part of things I want to discuss before I hand it to you to discuss the next part of things, which is tech sales. Let me tell you something. Technology salespeople make a lot of money because you have a base salary, then you have commissions on every um, for every sale that you make. So you need to know how to convince people. You need to know you have to be a salesperson. But let me tell you something. Abed, I think every job in life, everything we do in life, you have to be a salesperson.
That's
You
very
have to
true.
be. If you want to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you have to sell. If you want to know how to
Business,
something, you have to sell.
you have
What?
to sell. I'm saying if you want to have a business, you have to sell. You can't escape it. I feel like I tried to escape it for the longest time because I don't know if I didn't know then that I could learn how to pick a sales personality that worked for me. So I just tried
Yeah.
to avoid it by all means. And, it catches up with you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can escape it. So you have to know how to sell. If you can't sell, you're basically going to be firefighting everywhere. And anybody who can sell, hey, there's some people who can sell water to fish. Let me tell you
Yeah.
something. There's a guy who sold me. This guy sold me an insurance package, and he was so convincing because I didn't understand. I had no idea what I didn't understand insurance at the time. So he sold an insurance package to me. And just when I was about to pay, I was like, no, Bright, go do some research. You're a bright person, no pun intended. That I had to go research a little bit. I read a little bit more before I became somebody who could actually understand how to call it the insurance package. So I said no, but trust me, he was convincing. He took me to the right place. He bought me coffee. He said he'll pay for it. Like he was he was selling. That's when I realized, hey, this guy can sell water to fish, and the fish will buy clearly. So salespeople are that, and there's various courses that you can get to do, which can get you um, in the sales, in sales, in getting to, and in sales is all about numbers. You just have to have numbers, how to be able to register them online. Sometimes being even a reseller, you can be a technology person who used to be doing IT, basic IT, but now you want to resell products for other companies like IBM, Microsoft. Excuse me. There's money in that. The amount of money you can get from reselling is another thing. So if you're getting into tech, you don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a guru at, excuse me, at being able to create software or anything, but you can be somebody who can resell solutions for other people. You basically just need to understand, how does the solution work? How does it work with organizations? And one mistake people make is they don't understand the client's need before they sell. They're just basically selling because the solution is there. So you have to understand exactly what the client needs, what they want, and how can they benefit from it, the value that you're going to sell to them. I've done sales for some time now where I used to bring in almost 300, $400,000 to a company. And it's quite different when you have to. So I wanted to share a link again. Where can you get some of these courses? There's so many available courses, free courses online for you to learn how to do basic software development when it comes to front and back end. UI, UX, you just have to be a designer and use something like Figma to be able to do that. There's a course which I'm trying to do some work with the ALX. So I was talking to ALX team, and we see they have courses on Salesforce. They have courses on being about front and back end development. It used to be how do you call it? It used to be a course that for a whole year. It was quite intense, by the way. It was really, really intense. And right now, it doesn't have to go that way for you to actually get to learn. So do check it out. I've shared the link in the chat. Unfortunately, the guys online, I'll try to see how I can share. Shara, if you can share with the people online, I don't know if that's possible. And we basically can get to see, do register, get to see how you can register for some of those courses and pace yourself to be able to actually get to do that. So I'm taking a pause, taking it to you, Abed,
No,
because I think our CVs are horrible or something. I don't know.
you think what's horrible?
Our CV is curriculum vitae. What's a CV? What's a resume? What's the difference, though?
A CV is like, let's start with a resume. A resume is a summarized version of your CV, in short. So, as a resume, you use to apply to different positions, and you need to tailor it depending on the position that you're applying to. And normally, it should be between 1 to 2 pages. So if you have 0 to 5 years experience, there's honestly no reason that you need to have a resume that is like more than 2 pages. And I will show you just, right now how to format that and how to make sure that you are highlighting the most relevant things when you're sending your resume in. Yeah, so the resume is the short version. The resume is a summary of your experiences, your qualifications, and your projects. And the
Okay.
CV is just a longer version of that. I think that's the
Oh,
most basic way I can put. So when you're sending in your CV, you don't necessarily need to send a CV in for every job that you're applying to, but you can. Yeah,
what would be the
exactly.
chances of me getting a job if I don't? I mean, so that it depends on the job that I'm applying for, or because I feel like sometimes you need a resume for if you've been in the game longer, and a CV if you are not there for too long, or it's not a role that you have been in for too long. I
If
don't know if
I'll
I'm
be
right.
honest, if I'll be honest, I feel as though you use CVs in things like academic work, research, or international settings
Yeah.
specifically.
Okay.
I feel like a resume is what you can use for most job applications. Or you can actually use a CV as like a portfolio in a sense when somebody asks you, okay, can I get an understanding of your work history in totality? Then you can send them a CV. But I don't think it's relevant for most jobs because when you look at hiring managers, when you look at people in HR, they're really, really busy. So you won't have
Yeah.
time to peruse a 10-page document that is a work summary of somebody who's been working for like 20 years or 15 years. It's insane. So you kind of just need to have a summary, and that's what you tailor, that's what you send in for most job applications. So if you are applying for research, or you're applying for something in academia, or just in an international setting where they want to understand your holistic work experience, then you can send your CV in.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And if I may ask also, so I mean, some people apply on LinkedIn and then they get rejected easily. I once applied for a job at MTN. We were about 900 applicants apparently, and it came down to like almost 30 and came down to like about 10. I still didn't get the job. None of us got the job actually. It was quite
Wait,
tough.
was it like an internal hire or?
No, it was a regional role. It was a regional role to be the head of cybersecurity for how do you call it? 27 opcos. So it was a very huge role. So imagine managing 27 countries when it comes to cybersecurity is something that it's quite heavy. So it was a quite, and then guess what? The first interview was not even with a human being. It was a system that you basically record yourself as an intro. You have three questions that you get to read, and you have each question you can read for 3 minutes. You have 4 minutes to answer the question. You can only do one retake. So after that, you can't go back again. And then there's those funny questions where the aptitude tests get to be asked to you, and then man, it was difficult. But I pulled through to the top 10, top three, just that nobody won that job. So it's quite interesting.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what was the question? Why is it so difficult to get hired on LinkedIn?
I think because LinkedIn, first of all, also I feel like we missed out a lot in the details that we put. So if you
Mhm.
do if you for the easy applies and everything,
Yeah, maybe
sometimes
don't do easy apply, because
if it's
LinkedIn is
there, why not? My CV is
no,
available.
no, the reason I'm saying that is because you need to remember ultimately that LinkedIn is a social platform, right? It's not a job board, it's a social platform. So people like to actually interact with each other. So when you find that a job is on easy apply, it either means that they're doing some sort of internal hiring process and they're just putting the job there, or they've maxed out on candidates. They've already probably found the candidates that they're considering, and they would just like additional for their database. There are reasons that some jobs put easy apply there, and it's never the right route to like click on the easy apply and just opt for the easy way out. However, if you do
Yeah.
decide to do the easy apply, then just look for the hiring manager, or go to the company's profile and look for the people that will be working in that department, or anybody in the HR department, and send them a message. And you can do this on three fronts. So if you're speaking to like the HR manager, you can actually just alert them and be straightforward and let them know, yo, I've applied for this job. I think I would be a good fit. Would you please have a look at my profile and let me know if I would? And then they can
Okay.
either get back to you or not, because the HR is the least likely person to get back to you because of the volume of applications that they're getting.
Yeah.
You can choose to go a different route by just approaching somebody who is within the same department that you'd like to get into, or if it's a small organization, you can look for somebody who's called like a champion, somebody who would be able to just give you a bit of insight into the organization or into the role that you're applying for. And they use a different approach. So you're speaking to this person from the point of view that you're trying to understand more about the company, understand more about the culture, understand more about the position, why they're hiring for this position. So you're not asking for a job. Building
Okay.
connections and building networks within LinkedIn is what works.
So I think, in my opinion, I think it differs from country to country.
Yeah.
There's some people who are just lazy to read resumes or CVs and everything. And then there's some
Mhm.
who rely on LinkedIn engine, because the engine is designed to be able to actually intelligently look for
Yeah.
certain candidates with certain keywords in their profile. It's why I advocate for a lot of people to always update your LinkedIn. That the
Yeah.
tiniest thing you do, update so that the engine gets to learn exactly what you're doing, and you basically come on top of searches, or it picks out, because at the back end of searches, it actually changes the way things. because sometimes I tell, look, I write reviews about certain kind of topics that I think I'm comfortable with, and then other times I just repost something and I give my thoughts. So
Yeah.
sharing your thought processes about certain kind of topics become makes you a master of that entity, and becomes it makes it very easy for some people to actually find you. But some people just don't take that into consideration, and I hate when some companies post the same job for a whole year, knowing they're not going to hire you, and they just keep
Yeah.
on collecting CVs. I have seen that in Kenya. I am not going to mention which company. I'm not going to mention
Yeah.
which bank, but there's so many banks who like doing that. They keep on
Yeah.
posting and posting and posting the same job, and you wonder why are they not? And I think people need to also understand they're two different. They're hiring managers, and then there's HR managers.
Yep.
I think maybe you should just give a difference between the two, because they're not the
I
same
mean,
people.
well, in some companies, they could be the same people. Like if you're talking about SMEs and startups, you don't necessarily have a budget to hire a HR manager, a hiring manager. So if you are in corporate sector in a big company, then you will find that you have a HR department, and within the HR department, you have recruiters, you have the hiring manager, and you have a HR. So HR deals with the day to days of the organization, just overlooking things here and there, and might not necessarily deal with the hiring. So it's just in the name, it's pretty straightforward. Hiring manager deals with recruitment selection. So anything to do with making sure that the company is getting the right fits. That's basically what the manager will be doing, perusing CVs. So it just depends on the company, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I don't
all
know whether
right.
that clarifies it. I hope it does. But I'm also seeing somebody saying here that from their experience in the UK, LinkedIn is the most effective. So you said something about it varying from country to country, and that is very true because even when you look at companies hiring in the UK, the process is a little different, and how they receive applications is also a little different from here. I would
Yeah.
say they're, you know, over there it's more reliant on like networking and forming the right networks, whereas here sometimes people tend to be a little lazy to update their professional profiles on LinkedIn. So it's really difficult for a hiring manager to actually rely on your LinkedIn profile. So if I'm hiring and then you DM me or you send in your application and then I'm looking at your LinkedIn and there's nothing there, like you don't even have a professional photo, I know nothing about you, I won't, I'll just, I will, I'm
Right.
gonna ignore it, to be honest. So when you look at most job seekers in the UK or even abroad, people actually take their professional images seriously, right? So this is constantly updating on any achievements,
Yeah.
making sure that it's very, very clear what they're doing. So if you're a software developer, you're updating that, you're making sure that your profile actually reflects on who you are. So that doesn't happen a lot here, but I think it would make our lives easier even when you're about to DM that hiring manager, that recruiter. Go ahead and DM, but make sure you have something to back it up. Go make sure that your profile is actually worth the view.
Or even
Yeah.
GitHub repository for software developers, that is.
Sorry.
The GitHub repository where they post sample codes. I have a lot of people who don't ever finish, or who don't ever put that. Let you finish first.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. I'm actually just trying to comment on, people asking questions about recruiters. Someone is even saying that they've had horrible moments with recruiters. They haven't clarified what exactly is going on with recruiters. But I think I'd already spoken on that by saying the HR department sometimes may not be the best to reach out to, just simply because we may be overwhelmed, or there's just a lot going on in the department. So if you could actually reach out to somebody else, get an informational interview before you get to HR, before you get to the person that you think could help you in the HR department, then go that route. The next easiest person to reach out to would be a hiring manager, right? So,
Yeah.
because even when companies use these external recruiters, like use these hiring companies, they should actually disclose to you that they are not necessarily affiliated with the company, but they are hiring on behalf of the company.
Okay, so before we come back to later reviewing a sample CV, I just wanted to give comment on the fact that some people put Like for example, somebody wanted to be a cybersecurity engineer, and he said, "I want to work with." He wanted to work with me. Yet the person, his picture on LinkedIn was a hoodie with, the whole mask thing, and I'm like, okay, yes, you want to show that you're a black hat hacker or anything. Nobody's going to take you seriously. And also, I think there's another session I'll be having on the 20th. I will share that link soon, which is purely going to be about cybersecurity, and I'll be doing a few live demonstration of that as well. But I'll come to that later to talk about it. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity as the other bit of things, before cybersecurity, the next big area of tech jobs that I've seen is data science. Everybody wants data. Everybody has data. Everybody has is collecting data. Everybody is misusing data. Everybody don't have. Most people don't have any clean data. So if you look at it, people have the data, but they don't know what to do with it. You'll see a company that is a pharmaceutical company who is every day selling. That's a chemist. Chemist. You look at every chemist. They're forever selling paracetamol. They're selling. They have multiple chains of how do you call it, of shops. They're selling online. They're trying to sell online digitally. They're trying to do marketing and everything. How do you know that the person who how do you know which area you're supposed to sell to the most? When do you know when to actually restock? Because you just keep on selling and you don't even know how much you're supposed to order ahead of time. From if in Kenya you're going to order from Kemsa and the likes, all of that is data that you're collecting. So data scientists and data analysts get to be able to actually make life easier, to be able to visualize, to be able to break it down and be able to actually make sense of the data that you have. And the data engineers are basically a little bit more technical to build the engine or the back end of all of those. If you can actually collect the data and understand the fact that we need more medicine in Kajiado and not more medicine in Kilifi, for example, or if you're going to go to deliver medicine or particular kind of medicine to Kilifi and you're transporting them, you might as well deliver to Diani and Mombasa, right? But if you don't have data to know exactly what kind of medicine is necessary for each of those areas, you wouldn't know. But if you build a dashboard, which is basically going to give you insights, decision making in organizations right now are based on insights. And the more insights you have, the faster and better decision you're making, informed decision that you're making for the kind of businesses you're running. Your marketing team will know exactly how to market. Your technology department will know what to do. Your supply chain intelligence is going to be on the top notch. So I find data science and data analytics being a what a very, very crucial role in organizations right now. And again, you don't have to be very technical to be able to do that. You basically can be the thinker for that. And data engineers are the ones who now basically have to do a lot more engineering at the back end to make sure that the amount of data that you're taking in, processing, and be able to churn out, the system is able to handle that. If we are getting a million requests, for example, on KQ inquiries about a flight to a particular area, yes, you can actually build insights on that to make a better decision to know which flights to be able to change or which routes to add. But again, you will do better with excuse me, the data engineer is supposed to be able to make better decision as to exactly how that needs to how much servers you need and the space or the kind of engine you have to plug in. So comes to the next part of also there's the data science and the data analysis course on the ALX website. So the link that I've shared, please get to use it to register for those. If I can share it again, I'll share that link again so that you can actually register for those. It's a very short course. All the details are there as to exactly how you can do it. Then comes to my favorite conversation of all, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, people think you have to be a technical person to be a cybersecurity, to get in cybersecurity courses. No, you can be a cybersecurity engineer who likes to just do all the hacking every day. You can be a cybersecurity engineer who wants to just analyze things like a security operations center. You can become a cybersecurity personnel who loves to do sales. I know cybersecurity salespeople who are millionaires out there, again, depending on which country. And you can be a cybersecurity personnel who is in governance, risk, and compliance. You don't have to be a technical person so far as you have the basics understanding. Let me just share my screen to give you a few. Let me see. I'm going to share the entire screen. Screen one. So there are a few pages that can you see my screen, by the way?
Yeah.
Those who are online, they can see. So there's Udemy, which I have an ethical hacking course. You basically can get some of this for $29. There's also, I'll post all the links in the chat. There's also Cybery .it. Cybery.it have a very simple course. Oh, it's a website. It's not secure. Oh, it is. So Cybery.it also has really easy courses for you to go into. There's a Google Cyber Security certification. I think even the registration ended yesterday, which you can get from Coursera. It's also free. There's a ISC squared certification in cybersecurity. They recently partnered with IBM, I think. So again, they have a free entry level cybersecurity training course and a certification exam. There's also, what am I forgetting? There's Cisco cybersecurity course. So the Cisco Cybersecurity Academy also has a really good course. And then when you learn all of these basics, you've understood the basics of cybersecurity, you understand exactly what you do. You now go to things like TryHackMe. Um, TryHackMe has a learning path you can actually look at from fundamentals to advanced. But the basics of things is learning how to do. If you want to get a little bit technical, you can see some of them here. Then there's Hack the Box. Hack the Box. One of the leaders for Hack the Box Kenya is called Fraser Kilonzo. He's in the room right now, I believe. Hack the Box also has certifications for you to be able to use. So these are bare minimum places for you to just learn basics of cybersecurity. And you can become, if you want to become somebody who is in cybersecurity sales, learn the basics, understand the terminologies, understand how to move around it, understand how to basically. Oh yeah, Fraser is there. He just sent a chat. Somebody said they're not receiving the links on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So you can so understand the terminologies, understand what solutions are necessary for how to call it for the clients. I see people selling cybersecurity solutions to a client who does not need it. For example, you want to sell an EDR solution, which is an endpoint detection and response tool, to a client who basically does not need that. They need something much better than that, or they would have gone with something else different. So basically look into that. There are so many organizations right now. If you look at the top hiring companies right now when it comes to cybersecurity, from Silence to CrowdStrike to Darktrace to Microsoft and the likes, you'll see that there's you see, somebody said the links. I'll share the links with you right now when Abed goes next. You see all of those jobs are they're all sales, and you can actually do the sales part of those things can be done remotely. You don't have to be in Kenya to be able to actually, you don't have to be in the States to do that. Although I find more people getting more jobs when they are in the States, which is quite unfair sometimes. But I think it's also a culture thing. They want somebody on those regions who understand the culture and be able to get that. There's an area which is coming up right now, which is the part of tech, which I think a lot of people need to look into: blockchain. A lot of companies want to get to come to Africa. So if you're looking at the blockchain part of things, it is shout out to Ziwa. Ziwa bottles always make me happy. To have like 5 of them, I just keep on rotating. You will basically find out that those companies are trying to come to Kenya. So jobs are coming from Singapore, tech jobs. And these tech roles are either in the coding part of things or completely non-coding. And the completely non-coding part of things is sales. So they want to sell in Africa. They want to sell in the various African countries. They want people to travel. They don't want to come spend the time here. They usually come to Dubai, UAE, thereabouts, and then now stop there. They want people who are on the ground, who understand the culture of people, who understand the companies, who can sell to them to become. So please, if you're trying to get into tech sales, look for companies who are trying to who have products, and those products are trying to come into the country, into the continent. You become a salesperson for them. You can learn, by the way. All of those can be learned. I think all the tools that we see around, you can learn. And the other thing you need to learn is things like Salesforce. Salesforce is the basic kind of tool that we need for people to be able to understand, to use for basic sales processes. So, Abed, back to you about resumes or CVs. How should they look like? What are the mistakes we keep making as I put the links down for people?
Mistakes are many. I would start with not tailoring your CV for the different positions that you are applying to. I feel like there is just a general laid backness when it comes to those kinds of things. So you see one job and then you'd like to use the same resume, not CV, the same resume to apply for every single one of those jobs. And it's a lazy approach and it's very transparent. Another thing would be not highlighting your projects and not highlighting your achievements in a way that is very clear and succinct. So I don't know why people shy away from sharing their achievements. I don't know why people shy away from, not,
Are you
I don't
calling
know.
me out? If you're calling me out, just say it.
I'm not
So
calling you. I mean, I
yes,
did edit your CV, and I'm not saying that this is exactly what you were doing, but I'm just saying sometimes people do it, and I'm not saying it's you, right?
no, but I'm happy you called me out on that some time back. So guys, if you're watching, Abed redid my CV and my resume, and she basically called me out and was like, "Right, you do a lot of things, but I don't see them here." When I talked to her, she said, "Okay, you do so much in this space, but I just don't share them." So she actually took all the things that I did and redid my entire documents, even my profiles and everything. Sorry, you can
I'll be
continue
sharing
now.
that. I'll be sharing that shortly. And the other thing is overly technical language. And again, I'm not saying that you did this, but I'm just saying that this happens, that people use a lot of jargon. And you need to understand that the people who are reviewing the CVs sometimes don't have a technical background, or they may not even be in a position to get somebody to consult while they're reviewing these CVs. So try as much as possible. If you don't need to use jargon, please don't use jargon. And then formatting. So when I look at a document, even if it's not a CV and it's not properly formatted, my attention immediately just switches off. It's important that you are organized in how you lay your things out as a job seeker, or even if you're just doing your LinkedIn and you're trying to appear a certain way, because remember, this is your face. It speaks for you before you do. Yeah. And then the other thing is soft skills. Unfortunately, the space that I've had the most complaints from companies is my tech people don't have soft skills, or
Mhm.
my tech people are really struggling with soft skills. So, from things like communication, collaboration, teamwork, you're not sure how to problem solve or how to work with other people. I think it's very important for us to actually try and develop these things within us. Communication is the easiest because you can hire a coach to help you do that, or you can just practice active listening. You can ask for feedback. This is something you can actively work at that will make your job easier. It will also make you a lot more easy to work with, because
Yeah.
skills can be trained, but there are certain personality traits that you actually need to develop as an individual for you to be a good hire. It's not just about the tech skills. You need to be organized, you need to present yourself well, you need to be able to actually put your achievements out there in a way that is presentable. So, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think of another thing. I think there's also this whole thing for showcasing personal projects, which ties onto our discussion earlier.
Yeah.
So, if you've done like open source contributions or relevant side projects that demonstrate, your initiative or your creativity and passion for technology, please don't shy away from putting that, especially on your LinkedIn and even highlighting it on your resume. Do not shy away. We actually want to see that. We want to know what makes you tick. And yeah, I think that's basically it when it comes to CVs. And again, if you have less than 5 years experience, there's absolutely no reason for you to have an incredibly long CV. Let
Yeah.
me share my screen with regards to the CV and the resume. Yeah, but yeah, Bright, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so someone is saying that they found more success using a personalized CV rather than a Canva template. Yeah,
What's the difference? I don't get
sorry.
it. What's the difference
Canva,
between the?
I mean, let me show you. For some reason, it's just taking a while to load, but I hope you can see my screen, yeah?
Yeah. Now we can.
Okay, so perfect. So, like I said, this is your face. So, the first thing that I should be able to see when I get onto your CV is a summary, a professional summary of who you are, what you do. This highlights in summary what you should put in these different sections. And then there's technical skills. Again, you're in tech. These things need to pop out at me. And then we have personal experience. So just give a bit of a summary for each company, what you did at that position. If you did projects, this is where you will incorporate those projects. Again, this is a summary of your CV. This is your resume. So
Yeah.
you are succinct, you're not using jargon, and also you're adding numbers. So when we look at Bright's CV, you'll see that we added a lot of numbers and they really, really helped, not just because they help quantify your experience, but also they help with your rankings in ATS, application softwares that pick up on your CV. So they look for keywords and they look for quantified experience. Yeah. So this goes on company. You summarize what you did in the company. Again, you can include your projects. And then if you have any leadership experience, there's also a section to include your leadership experience. So for everyone who's joined this live webinar, I'm going to share this out to you. Hopefully it's going to help with your job applications. And then we have education and other. So when we go to Canva and Canva templates, they have a very generic feel. When someone sends me a Canva made CV, there is a very huge difference. Yeah, can I get this document? Yes, definitely. Um, when someone uses Canva, you can just see. And also, it tends to be it's generic, it's just a little low efforts, and it doesn't help you focus on the key things that you're supposed to be focusing on. It doesn't help you summarize the main points that will actually get you noticed during job interviews. Yeah, so Bright, with your permission, let me just share your CV as
Okay.
well.
Go ahead.
Was this a CV or was it a resume?
Well, that's the long version. So that's a resume. That's the CV.
CV. Okay. Yeah, so this was quite long. As you can see, we did a very nice summary for him. Seasoned leader in the field of cybersecurity and blah blah blah. If you're interested in this, you can ask him personally if he'd like to share. But because of his experience as a thought leader and the position that he holds within the cybersecurity industry, we also included his mission, his goal, and added technical skills as well. And then we went ahead to summarize his professional experience. So you can see a lot of numbers and they're all in bold, just so that the hiring manager can pick out these achievements. So we didn't necessarily summarize what he did on the roles from day to day, right? What we did is we just gave a summary of his achievements within that role. Yeah. So if you were to turn this into a resume, it would mean that you're targeting a specific job. So rather than put achievements in this section, you would put responsibilities that you held in that job, and then you would do a summary and also include numbers and make sure you're quantifying your experience. So that's one of the differences. Yeah, so we summarized that, and then we also added, I hope I'm not rushing through this. We also added notable achievements because, like he said, there's just so much he had done that for some reason was in the dark. So we make sure that we brought this out. And yeah, right, as far as I'm concerned, I know that this really, really helped because at the time you were doing a lot of engagements with companies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's awards as well, and then we finished out with education. So this was a little longer. This was around six pages. So this was a CV. This is something that you can use to send as a proposal if you're looking to get a consulting gig and etc. It can function more or less as a portfolio. Yeah, so that's basically it. You can create your own CV design by putting layouts in docs. Yeah, you can do that as well. You don't necessarily have to follow my design, but I think in terms of the format and the layout, this would be advisable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I before we get to the question and answer part of things, I wanted us to discuss something you mentioned. Yes, you can get into the career space. You can get into all of that. I wanted to discuss two things. One also is the AI space, and then something which I find very important: hiring character and versus hiring skill. These are
Mm.
two things that we need to very sure about. So, um, the AI part of things, I like to use, of course, the usual Chat GPT is fine. I also love using Gamma AI, Gamma app. If you never use Gamma, trust me, you're welcome to the world of making your life very easy, where you can do a presentation like, say, um, getting into technology as a career, and basically it gives you topics, right? So you can choose the topics that you want, and basically just uh, I'm out of credits of this. Oh God. Anyway, I've used it so many times. Otherwise, when you do this, it basically gives you full access to. I mean, it gives you the entire presentation, nice and easy, which you can use. The other one I like, which recently is is Copilot. And Copilot is also part of the software development part of things. So software developers, I believe, know how to do this very easily. Copilot, and then the recent one is Gemini from Google. So Gemini AI login is quite interesting to use. I think my connection is the one that is having an issue right now, so it's not working. But yeah, I didn't log in on this. But Gemini also is pretty good. Copilot. So those are things that you can basically get to use for your everyday AI kind of work. And again, on the ALX page, you will find an AI for business or for your career, which you can actually get to see um, how basic to get into it. But before we get into question and answer part of things, I just really wanted to talk about character and skill. You hire some. There's a thing people have issues with when you hire software developers or some work ethics in Kenya or in Africa, for example, or some places, and you don't deliver, or you get one of my my colleagues the other day, he said he got an intern is like, I went to ABCD school, so I know how to do tech. And when she was supposed to show up for day one, she's like, oh, I'd like to work from home today. Why? Because she feels like working from home. And I'm like, okay, you want to work from home on your day one of a job. And it's just, it's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's a Gen Z thing or whichever Gen is coming next. I don't know, but it's quite annoying that sometimes. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the live. I think the streaming is going to work now, and it's not working. But it's kind of crazy. Some people don't really want to pay attention to the work ethics and want to work remotely, yet want to be paid the same. So I usually say hire character, train skills. Skills can always be trained. You can always train somebody to become a good cybersecurity engineer or a good software engineer, a good UI UX engineer, but skills can be trained. Character is what I get to hire.
Cannot train character
What
on
are some
any
of the,
level.
yeah, maybe you can share some light on some of the things you see when it comes to character part of things, and then we can go to the question and answer part of things.
No, you know, I've had instances where I learned this the hard way. And I would say something happened to me like about 5 years ago,
Mhm.
a while back, when I was looking for my first intern. And I was also just trying to navigate a few things here and there. And I got this um, lady, and she was really, really good in terms of her CV. Like when I read her CV, and then when the day for the interview came, she showed up late, did not really apologize or make any comments, and then she kept pushing me about um you know it just was not the most pleasant interaction, because she
Yeah.
kept pushing me about certain company specifics and asking questions like which I completely understand where they were coming from. So questions about how much money we make, or just very interesting questions. And so because she was so good, I decided to take her on, and we would sort out the kinks. And what happened was we did not last a month, because she would sometimes not show up. And I don't know where this comes from, where people just don't apologize. People just do things, and then the next day they're like, hi. And it's just like you're supposed to forget everything that happened, without someone even acknowledging that this was wrong. Or they simply wouldn't just deliver. And when asked, they would say, I just wasn't feeling up for it mentally. And eh,
Such things piss me off. I get so mad at such things when they say that.
I know
Ah.
it's just very, very interesting. Bipolar traits. Someone is, I don't
Oh
know.
man.
I don't know what it is. I obviously, but we didn't last long because of that. And that was the time that I realized you honestly cannot train character, but you can give people skills. So you would rather start off with somebody who has a grade A attitude, somebody who is actually willing to do the jobs. For example, let's look at tech sales. You need somebody
Yeah.
who is an extremely good communicator, somebody who is outgoing, somebody who understands that meeting the sales target is important. So if you get somebody who is outgoing, but then they are outgoing and they're just good at talking, right? So they're not necessarily keeping the fact that having the numbers in mind, hitting the targets is important. You're not going to get a good hire. They're going to fail at their job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would rather have somebody whose skills need to be developed a little and invest in that, rather than hiring somebody because they're really, really good, but then they can't communicate. They cannot articulate an idea to save their life. But when it comes to actually coding and doing the technical things, that's great. Or
Yeah.
hiring somebody who kila siku yani mnakosana kwa ofisi, it's just like cannot work with people, cannot do cross functional anything. This person just prefers to put their head down and work alone. Again,
Yeah.
you cannot work with somebody who's not a team player. You also cannot work with somebody who is very stuck in their ways. These are the red flags to look out for as well. Somebody who is not willing to learn any new technologies, or also does not take any customer preferences in doing what they're doing. So you said something about learning what your customer needs and tailoring a solution accordingly. So there are people who would just, once somebody has done something, this is their baby. They're not willing to take feedback. They don't want to change anything. That's a red flag. Yeah.
I rule out such people so fast, and I don't condone such characters. So for those who are joining on Instagram Live, we try to link again. We failed. So anyway, there's a question here from Stella KN. Let me just bring it up. And Stella is like, how do you address ageism in tech? It's something that I've heard about a lot. What opportunities are there for age 40 plus individuals who want to either pivot fully from existing careers or add tech to their current careers? Two, what opportunities are there for individuals in communications and PR? So ageism is something which is a topic which a lot of people discuss. I don't think it's ever too late to start anything new. And these days, with the kind of opportunities we have, Stella, it's easy for you to be able to learn a new skill pretty fast. It's easy for you to be able to learn just a bit of that skill, and you don't have to become somebody who is fully, how do you call it? Who is fully getting into, what's the word? who fully needs to be able to learn the entire spectrum. Back in the day, for me to actually learn basic coding, I have to learn the entire spectrum of HTML, CSS, and all of this kind of stuff. These days, the AI tools that are there for you to be able to help you do that. So it's easy for you to be able to transition quite easily. And also, there are the jobs that are used to be a full spectrum of job for people can now be created into small chunks. So it's easy for you to be able to take one small part, focus on it, do what we call a deliberate focus, and you basically get into it entirely to become to actually transition. Again, when it looks at communication and PR, I find a lot of people in communications and PR become people who are in sales because you already know how to talk, you know how to be able to present yourself, you know how to put yourself out there. You're a people's person. So in tech sales, you'll thrive very easily. However, I see those people also becoming leads or people who can lead a group of people, who can lead in terms of um, how do you call it? Getting people together. So you know you have different teams, you have different people in different departments, but you want to help them to be able to bring something alive. You become either there's something called it. So we have product managers. We also have discovery managers. So discovery manager is actually a role which you can actually use to basically look for faults that exist in other products that you've already sold. So you bring that communication back, or a customer success manager. So a customer success manager, you basically want to say, we sold you ABCD work. We want to find out if it's working for you. How do you feel about it? And how do we basically get to improve better? Also for customers. So ageism, I don't think it's really a limitation. I know somebody who started learning how to code at 35, and that person in less than a year or two was doing pretty well. We have a lady from Japan who started coding at the age of 90 or something. Is it 80 or 90? And she was doing pretty well. So I don't think it's really a problem with age.
No,
Anyone can learn anything. We have way too many resources available. I wanted to show you something very simple, which you can use. And again, I wish people who are online on Instagram could be seeing this, but oops, sorry, that's not working. Where you can basically use Google to find almost anything you want. If you go to, I hope my website is still up, Brazil.com. I left something in, say, commands. I've not updated this website in a long time. We have something called Google Docking, which allows you to be able to find almost anything and everything in terms of books, materials, and everything. If you type site KE and say file type doc, and you could say, let's say, I don't know, I need a topic, I need a topic, I need a topic. We're looking for documents that have the word um, constitution. Okay, have I spelled it right? Nope. Well, constitution. This basically says you want to find on every .ke website every Microsoft Word document that has the word constitution in it, or you want to say governance, you basically can get this done very easily. If you're looking for research of people, say in Kenya, who have done a PowerPoint presentation on COVID 19, you see PowerPoint presentation with the word COVID 19, and you're not the first person to do that, or you're looking for all PowerPoint presentation on every Kenyan website, you basically will be able to get it. If you type, say, index.off, I used to use this a lot, saying Captain Marvel, for example. This basically says that you can see the back end of websites where the front end is telling you to pay, and the back end allows you to download the movie directly from the server. You're not stealing, you're just borrowing. So you're not doing anything illegal. And you can see
think
movies and
pirating live.
uh, and is that the other one is entitled index of, let's say I'm looking for things with um, Python programming, and I'm looking for PDF, for example. You basically find websites that have all of these Python programming books for free, and you don't have to pay for it. Where is it? All of these books are here. So these are direct access to PDFs for you to be able to download access to all these files, but be careful when you're getting them. Even if you're looking for keys for programs, you're looking for different kind of file types, you will be able to get access to it. So on my website, brightz.com, I've highlighted how to search for certain kind of books. I've put three types. The first type is easy search of books, where you can put the type of book name, the author, and then the PDF of what format you want. Type two is a little bit specific. If you're looking for this information, say you're looking for the one I did right now, where you're looking for files from, say, South Africa. It's a research about South Africa about things to do with, say, um, law and cyber or something like that. You'll find these things to do with law and cyber, and the searches actually reduces to specifically exactly what you're looking for when it comes to law and cyber. So these codes exist. We call this Google Docking. And Google Docking, there's so many Google Docking commands, thousands of them, for you to be able to actually analyze and use for free. So again, there's so many ways, there are so many resources. You just basically have to use them very well. Maybe the next
Right.
question.
Before
Yes.
we move on to the next question, this
Yeah.
issue on ageism, I don't think it's necessarily the individual's issue. I mean, it can be, but I think it's a systemic issue. It's like sexism. So it's not necessarily something that can be overcome simply by just teaching yourself these skills, but also placing yourselves within organizations and around people who are outliers, right? Because you can't beat the system in a certain way, but you can be good enough to penetrate into certain sectors, into certain industries, because it is an issue that is faced a lot. When you look at most startups and when you look at most, even SMEs or corporates, look at the people that are in the technology departments. These are young, bright-eyed people, very fast. They do have profiles. So there is a lot of profiling going on in the tech industry, and it's a systemic issue. So even for women who are trying to get in tech, or people who are of a certain age trying to get in tech, I think the better you are at learning these skills, just in the same way that Bright has shared, then the more of a competitive advantage you have. So just be good, be so good that they can't ignore you. I know it's a cliche, but I think that really, really helps. And also avoid as much as possible disclosing your age. There is literally like, you don't need to disclose your age, not on your CV. Somebody can figure it out. And even as a hiring manager, even as HR, we are not supposed to ask you what your age is or what your sex is. It is discriminatory. So if you encounter those environments, just stay clear of those. And yeah, I think that should help with the ageism issue.
Great. There's this question I find quite interesting, and I've discussed this a number of times with some few people. Hello, guys. I'm currently a second year computer science student. How am I supposed to tackle contents and also learn much on cybersecurity on the sides? And also should I start writing my resume as early as now and add my experience to my resume? Amir, I've seen some people have answered you in the comments and everything, but I can tell you for free. My 19-year-old mentee has a resume. He actually has the details of what his work. You just basically have to plan yourself. And it's funny, Abed and I were discussing this earlier on. You have things to do. You have Asana, you have Todoist, you have Trello, you have Microsoft To Do, you have Google Keep Notes. I personally, when I'm working every day, I have my Microsoft To Do every morning. I update everything I'm supposed to do, and I have my Google Keep Notes where I just keep on writing very little things on it to basically tackle or anything that I think about. And sometimes I'm even driving. I'll stop on the side and write what I have to write. And you have AI tools which can basically listen in the background, and you can use your voice to take notes. Or everything you talk about can be transcribed in those kind of details. So it's a lot of time planning that you need to take into consideration in when you're trying to plan yourself. Why is diploma in tech not sufficient to compete effectively in the job market, particularly in roles that requires specialized skills or advanced knowledge? Diploma, I have hired people who are in high school. I've hired people from diploma. I've hire people from various levels. And it's not, it's in tech, it's a lot of ways that you can show yourself. And again, it's not about showing your work. If you're in tech, if you don't know how to show yourself, you're not going to get into many roles. And I mean showing yourself is taking part in presentations, presenting, how do you call it, presenting at conferences, presenting at workshop, writing on LinkedIn. And writing on LinkedIn, I'm not saying go write an entire, how do you call it, essay. You basically can just write or recommend on something that has been done by somebody else, and for you to be able to share details of what you're thinking in that space. All of those are adding to your skill set, are adding to your portfolio. So when you're trying to put together a document, it makes very easy for somebody to be able to pick you out of many. Remember, thousands of you are going to graduate with the same certificate or degree. Thousands of you are going to graduate with the same law degree or whatever it is. Oh, by the way, for people who are looking for remote jobs, I know there's a page that I know which has a lot of free for lawyers. If there are lawyers in the room and you want remote jobs, let me post that here. Those two websites have a lot of remote jobs. I know people in Kenya who have been um, using that for work, and they get a lot of law. What's the word? Remote work to be done. There's another one which you can use is called We Work Remotely to use. So you basically have to make sure you show up and show out, so that you can actually get to make a difference in when it comes. It's a very competitive area when you're trying to bid for roles in various organizations.
You know,
Yeah.
Bright, I just realized that we did not discuss anything to do with interviews for tech positions, but maybe
Hey,
we
yeah,
can discuss. Yeah, we have not said anything, but because of time, I think I can say something in summary. And I
sure.
just wanted to highlight one thing in particular, which is practicing for your interview, coding and technical questions. There is this website, and I don't know why people don't talk about it enough. It's called Test Gorilla. I don't know if you've heard about it,
Mm.
right? So let
Yeah,
me share my, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gonna put the link. I don't know if it will allow me to log in because I had logged in as a company. But if you are looking to practice your soft skills and your technical skills, please go on Test Gorilla. And they have a free subscription, I think, where you can get access to certain tests. Let me share. Yeah, here you go. I don't know. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Okay, great. So you can actually do tests on communication, problem solving. You see, this is free. So you can just go in here and do the tests. And based on the test, you can practice for the interview, but you can also get to understand your skill and proficiency levels just based on this. There's time management. There's someone who'd asked a question about procrastination, so this would help with that. Procrastination is an internal issue. It has very little to do with external factors, and it has a lot to do with discipline and learning skills that could help you bypass certain internal tendencies that you could have. So thinking about time management, practicing time management principles could help with that. There's also Big Five fundamentals of electricity. And then as we get more technical, because I know we have, let's see, yeah, we have SQL, we have risk management, coding data structures, data analytics in Excel. So there's a lot of things that you could just come here and test your proficiency level and also practice for interviews. Because I think it's important that you not only learn how to articulate yourself in interviews, but you're also prepared for whatever the hiring manager could throw at you. And this is a very good way to do it.
Yeah.
Another thing that we can also think about is researching the company. So research the company, but don't be basic. When I say research, I don't mean just go on Google, but I mean have the conversations that we talked about with people in that department. You can even have as many informational interviews as you possibly can, and make sure that during those informational interviews, because it is your chance to actually get to know more about the company and the culture, that you find out what you need to find out, that you're as specific as you possibly can be. And things to think about as well is, like he said, show up and show out, right? Discuss past projects and experiences in detail. Be prepared to actually walk the hiring manager or the interviewer through past projects that you've done in detail, but also make sure that you are not talking too much to the point where somebody is actually losing interest in what you're saying. So it's
Yeah.
incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy to just check the nonverbal cues to see when somebody's losing interest so that you don't over explain certain things. And then ask thoughtful questions as my last point. So there are certain conversations that I would advise us not to have, especially when you're having the first conversation with a company. And one of the things that I have been asked commonly toward the end of the first conversation that I have with candidates is, normally I will post, how much the job is offering, but in case and something makes me not share, how much the job, or maybe the client doesn't want that amount to be shared, but asking me on the first conversation how much or about money is a no-no. Because
Yep.
think about it as a first date. It's like you've gone on a first date and you're asking the guy, you're asking the lady, how many kids do you want? Like, you're not going to have a second date. It's a bit much for
Hey,
everyone there.
Abed, some
You're
people ask that
scoping.
question the first date. They ask you. There's some people who ask you that question the first day, like, "Hey, how many
I
kids
know.
do you?"
And they don't get a second date because that is crazy. Like, that's not what's supposed to happen. Because during the first interview, you're scoping each other out. Mnapimana, both of you actually. That's how it should be. And most first interviews, you'll find that it is with external recruiters who are just trying to gauge if you are even a basic fit for the company. So sometimes they actually don't, I mean, they should know, but sometimes they don't know how much the position is offering. And even if they do know, just ask later. Just ask. If they approach you for a second conversation, it means that they want a deeper relationship. It means they're actually interested. And you'll find that you don't even need to ask that question. They may ask it themselves. Yeah, so that's basically it when it comes to interviews and
Yeah.
interviewing. How important is having an online
So I
portfolio
wanted
in
to
your,
share something.
what is,
Before you go on, I
okay.
wanted to share something. There's something we call no code, and then we're coming to a day and age that don't. For I know there's some people who are here who don't want to learn coding from scratch and everything, and actually have what you call no code. And no code basically is necessarily coding. And there are no code courses that are actually out there. This means that you don't want to get your hands dirty with the nitty-gritties of doing all the technical stuff and everything. But again, you should be able to create some applications, and there are so many guides. And you can even look for no code AI tools. They are there. You'll basically be able to actually get some tools that can help you to create code, or even I've seen some AI tools. I can't remember the name. When you draw on paper, and when you draw on a piece of paper how you want it to be, it basically actually automates and does the coding for you. But again, it's really important for you to be able to understand basics of coding, just for you to be able to actually get on with this. So it's really important. Um, but no code is a way people are actually going these days, instead of learning the entire process. But it's good for you to understand the basics of it. Which question do you want to highlight that I can bring it up?
Oh, yeah. So someone was asking how important is having an online portfolio in your CV for reference of your works. So, like I said, your CV is a holistic document, right? So it's probably going to have the details of the projects that you've done. However, I think it is important if you've done, especially if you're doing visual projects, for you to actually have an online portfolio just to back it up and just to show proof of work. It's like, I don't know whether this
Yes.
applies, but architects, they have a CV and they also have an online portfolio of things that they've designed. And I really, really like that because it makes it so easy for you to actually see what you're getting. Yeah. So
Yes,
yeah,
it's like this
it is
website.
important.
This website I've just pasted Behance, wherever you come from, potato,
Yeah.
potato. I see a lot of people who actually create Figma screens. So if you are doing UI UX, show your work there. There's a guy that I hired some time back, and the first place that I went to was basically I went to his Behance account. I went to his YouTube account. His YouTube was just showing a flow of things, but his Behance account had a proper demonstration of some of the work he's done in the past, and it was pretty nice. Like I liked it. That's what made me to hire him. And guess what? This was via a WhatsApp group. It was purely in a WhatsApp group. I'm like, is there a UI UX designer? But what gave me a competitive advantage was the fact that this guy had he's a full was a full stack engineer, but more of how to call it a front end engineer. So he understands the kind of languages, he understands the kind of technology that is needed in the back end to be able to make this work, and that totally sold me. The interview was not even an interview; it was a conversation saying, "Hey, you want to come work with us? This is how much we're gonna pay you." It was straight up conversation. So way to show your work out there is really important. If it's software development, a backend developer, you have to be able to show using GitHub or something. Front end and backend GitHub repositories are really good for that. Otherwise, if your UI UX, Behance is there, or YouTube, even your Instagram post. Yesterday, somebody told me, "Hey, I want to dress you. I want to make sure I'm your wardrobe. You can check my work on my profile." But I'm like, your profile has nothing to do with you can't dress
Oh
me
my God.
up. You can't get me what I want. So it's really it's a very interesting part of things. It's a very interesting question. Can certifications land you a job without the degree certification in tech? This has been a very back and forth debate we've had for a long time. If you
Mm,
have a degree, this is a degree is becoming like a certificate. A
yeah.
master's is becoming like a normal degree. A PhD is becoming like the master's that you have. A certification will push you really far in being able to
Mm,
get to actually prove yourself that it will get you through so many doors. But when it comes to climbing up the ladder, some people, some jobs tend to ignore some of those. But the certification shows your proficiency in a particular sector, but the degree and the master's and the PhD and the like shows discipline. So you are more of a leader when you have a degree. Dodi, who's asking, it puts you at a better place. I don't think some rooms would have been. I would have been able to step into some rooms if I didn't finish my PhD. And a PhD, I did my PhD purely by mistake. And for those who don't know, in South Korea, schooling is technically free for foreigners. So if you apply through the Korean government scholarship program, and you see those two, I mean, it's quite good. The Korean government scholarship programs actually pays you to be able to actually do a free degree or free PhD or master's. Or if you go to something called NIIED, search about that. Again, get to be free, or you can apply to the school directly. You look for a professor, write to the professor saying, "I want to stay under you. I want to work under you. Um, can you actually get to what's the word help with that?" So those are places that you can actually look at when and a lot of schools in Asia, you technically can get it for free. um
mm,
some, so yeah, that's basically some of the things. I know we need to wrap up soon.
yeah.
Somebody is saying we're not seeing the questions on LinkedIn. CEH from EC Council and CompTIA Security Plus, they are both good. They are actually really good. I serve on the board of EC Council for Threat Intelligence. Really good. It benefits me in a way as well. So I'm not just advocating for EC Council. EC Council, I posted in the links that I shared earlier on. If you haven't gotten the links, I can share it again. Called Code Red. The Code Red program has so many courses for you to be able to take. Um, very, I mean, at a very cheap rate. The exam is what I think is about like $100 or two, but the code red program is really good. It makes cybersecurity certifications almost free. So do look into that um, when you're searching. They are both good. It depends. At the end of the day, it's what you do with those courses, that
Mm.
matters. It's not really about the courses are all good. There are so many others that I can share. I'll share later in the cybersecurity session on the 20th. Let me look for that link to share. But do make sure that you actually get to, you basically, it's a lot of practice. The practice is what makes it easier for somebody to get a slot. So make sure that you can actually practice a lot, then you can get the various roles. Otherwise, if you don't practice, you're not gonna get anything. But
I
I know
keep
we're getting,
wondering, like
we are
when it
out
comes
of time.
to, we are out of time, but when it comes to like learning programming languages, what actually gives you a competitive advantage? Is it that the more you learn, the more competitive you're going to get, or is it just be specific with one and be like really, really good at it, and it's going to give you a competitive advantage?
If you learn multiple languages, obviously you become more, how to call it, marketable. There's a
Yeah,
one chief programmer of Kenya called Juma Allen. And Juma Allen is really good when it comes to a particular kind of coding language, but now he's learning so many others because he needs to diversify into different areas because of the kind of ways that we are seeing multiple, how do you call it, work being done. So yes, I learned that from him the other day. He does learn new programming languages, but he learned the basics which he can actually reuse over and over again. And just some of the things we need to look into. How you need to look at various, looking at more than one programming language, but specialize in a particular one that you're flawlessly um,
yeah.
good at, and look at the ones that are trending or where the world is going to, which you can use. I want us
Okay.
to wrap up. I know we can go on for the next 10 hours, um, but I think I think we just need to close it up soon. But I want to, first of all, Abed, thank you for joining me in this conversation. Um, it's very difficult to get people like you at this time, but I'm happy that you've joined this conversation. I think I don't know what can we do a poll? Okay, but anyway, just I think with the next session, we should be able to do a CV review session for those who are on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Um, if we can do, let people, we can share a Google folder,
Yeah.
people to upload the CVs. Please remove your personal identifiable information, and then we can review them live for you to see some of the mistakes that you've made, and for a particular kind of role, if you get hired or not, what will make you what will make you stand out in certain job roles. So, so we can make it to you state the kind of job that you think the job is supposed to apply for, and how you want to basically get your CV review. We can do that for maybe like a 15-20 minute session sometime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
As a
anything,
follow-up to
anyone.
this one.
Yeah,
I'm seeing someone is, I, obviously we're out of time. If you have any more very specific questions, whether it's to do with, HR or cybersecurity or CVs and getting hired, if it's CVs getting hired, please send me an inbox. My name is Abed Naima across all platforms. If you have any specific questions about cybersecurity, getting into tech, please send Dr. Bright a message on his Instagram, on his LinkedIn. He'll be able to answer if he can. But if he can't, also don't take it personally. I feel like it's important for me to just like highlight that, because sometimes you get an influx of messages and you're not able to answer them all at once. But yeah, guys, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful having this conversation with you, Dr. Bai. Thank you for inviting me.
thank you, and thanks to Shara Mugo in the background who has been setting all of this for us. We wouldn't have done that
Yeah.
without her. All right, thank you
Yeah.
guys. And somebody's asking if I have imposter syndrome. I always do. Trust me, I have done
Yeah.
318 presentations, but sometimes I still ask myself, what the heck am I doing here? How is this working? Are people going to like what I'm saying? And I get into some rooms and I can't even ask. Today I was in a room where somebody, a CEO, a director in of a company came to give me his card. He walked up to me and said, "I just want to give him a card." I almost fainted because I was like, "What? Me? You want to give me a card?" So I think the imposter syndrome will always be there, but I've learned how to manage it with everywhere that I go. So yeah, I think we'll end it here. Otherwise, we can't. I thank all of you for staying. We had 160 people on the live here. I don't know what has been going on LinkedIn or Twitter and the likes if they went through. I think the Instagram just did not connect. But those who are watching from Instagram on my feed, next time I think when we share the link, please register so that we can all get to share our screens. And I'm gonna do a live hacking session if you want to get to see that on the 20th. If you really want to just see how it is. And one other place that I want to really touch on later is child online protection. That is something which I'm really passionate about. How can we protect our kids online? So looking forward to that soon. Thank you so much and good night.
Yeah, good night, guys.